February 12th, 2022. Halfcast 238, episode 238. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? FDNY captain busted after search warrant turns up steroids, ecstasy in his home. An off-duty FDNY captain is accused of having anabolic steroids and ecstasy shipped to his Orange County home. First off, why am I still hearing stories about people getting drugs shipped to their homes in 2022? Why don't you just do the smart thing and have your buddies at the NYPD drop them off to your house? Hey! Muhammad Iftikhar, 42, who's assigned to Engine 282 in Borough Park, Brooklyn, was busted February 8th after state police and federal authorities raided his home in Goshen. The state police, Homeland Security Investigations, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Services zeroed in on Iftikhar's home after learning it was getting shipments of controlled substances through the mail. That led to a search warrant, and authorities found more than 50 grams of steroids and more than 20 grams of MDMA, also known as ecstasy, state police said. Iftikhar was hit with the felony drug possession charges, while another suspect, Maria Yunus, 39, who was at the home, was charged with misdemeanor drug possession. Super Bowl / Valentine's Day party pack? Florida cop joined drug planting conspiracy in exchange for sex. Trip to Paris. I mean, it's Florida. You can't get laid without risking your badge. Nico Irizarry, a 25-year-old deputy with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, was arrested and fired, his boss Carmine Marcino said Friday. Irizarry was contacted by Charles Custodio, 37, who was seeking vengeance against an unidentified victim, Marcino said. Custodio promised Irizarry unspecified sexual favors in the Parisian vacation if Irizarry would help in the fentanyl planting scheme, according to investigators. Because sexual favors is a very broad term, I'm going to need you to specify what's unspecified. Custodio had contacted a third man, which is already way too many. Now you're bringing in too many people. 29-year-old Scott Snyder to plant the synthetic opioid in his enemy's car, cops said. Then Irizarry pulled the victim over in a pre-planned traffic stop on December 16th near Fort Myers. Did he even get laid as a down payment on this shitty deal? I don't think he did. Nobody is above the law, and that includes our deputies, Marcino said Friday. Marcino did not say if Irizarry was ever compensated with the sexual favors and trip to France that Custodio had promised. Something in my heart of hearts tells me that this guy had absolutely no intention on getting this guy laid or getting him a trip to Paris. Trip to Paris was the bait. Custodio and Snyder were charged with trafficking fentanyl, possession of a controlled substance, and conspiracy. Irizarry was charged with falsifying an official document. At only 25 years old, that is a very stupid way to jeopardize your career. Suspect's ex-wife helps cops solve missing Escort case. 2 years after Joe Hollendorfer allegedly strangled aspiring model and escort Kara Nichols in Colorado, he confessed the crime to his wife and told her he buried the body on his parents' farm, newly released court documents say. This is a very troubling trust exercise for a marriage because if my spouse confessed to me that they murdered somebody, I would be thinking that they were trying to see if I need to go too. Christina Hollendorfer kept that secret for 8 years until investigators dusted off the cold case file, tracked her down to Virginia, and knocked on her door. Now known as Christina Palmer, she told detectives about the night in 2014 when her then husband asked her to go for a ride in his new truck and unburdened himself. This is just weird all the way around because why are you telling me? Are you telling me because you feel guilty for cheating? Or are you trying to get me to play some type of part in what you did? She related Joel told her he hired an escort, and during sex in her car, he allegedly strangled her until she died. Police said in an affidavit for an arrest warrant for Hollendorfer. Joel then transported her to his parents' property where he buried her in an old horse grave with plastic bags and lime. Christina had no knowledge of Joel ever moving the body. They can't make you testify against your spouse in some states. So maybe that's why he felt like it was okay to come clean to her about what he did. Doesn't help the marriage one bit, but thanks for the honesty. She also told detectives that Hollendorfer said that he told his parents what he did and that he believed it had driven his father to his grave. Armed with Christina's statement, police obtained a search warrant for the Hollendorfer property in Colorado Springs and zeroed in on a spot where his mother said her favorite horse Milo was buried. 3 feet down, they found a garbage bag, a human hand, and more remains. Hollendorfer, 46, was arrested 3 days later on charges of second-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence, ending a decade-old mystery. After Nichols' father reported the 19-year-old missing in October 2012, police learned she had been working as an escort and had placed an ad for a sexy new blonde in town on a classified ad website. In 2013, investigators obtained records for the cell phone number that Nichols had listed and found a series of 8 contacts with one number just before she went missing. Police called and left a message, and Joe Hollendorfer called back. Hey, we got a guy. His story was that he had been looking for an escort girl that night. He told police he was into drugs and sex workers back then and spoke with Nichols, but did not meet her. If I'm a detective, there is absolutely no coincidence in that out of 8 numbers, his number was the only one that led directly to him. Evidence suggested otherwise. Detectives used mobile phone pings to figure out where Nichols was the night she talked to Hollendorfer, and the trail led close to his family's property. By now, it was October 2014, and cadaver dogs were brought to the property, and ground penetrating radar was used to determine spots that had been disturbed. According to the affidavit, Hollendorfer's mother, Betty, walked around the property with the investigators and pointed out the places where she said horses had been buried over 3 decades. For reasons that are not explained in the affidavit, none of it was excavated. Instead, police went to a nearby property that Betty said her son had access to, where the cadaver dog zeroed in on what looked like the site of a shallow grave. However, there were no human remains recovered, the document says. It's not clear if police believe Nichols was originally buried in that spot and later moved to the horse grave. There was someone who could have told them, Christina, but according to the affidavit, she never returned detectives' calls. Nichols' family has long maintained that the El Paso County Sheriff's Department botched the initial investigation. The sheriff was run out of office amid allegations of misconduct in 2014. A former Amazon worker who admitted taking part in a bribery scheme has been sentenced to 10 months in prison. Please don't tell me they promised him sexual favors too. A 28-year-old former Amazon employee was sentenced to 10 months in prison per the DOJ. Rohit Katamaseti was involved in a bribery scheme targeting Amazon's marketplace. Amazon Marketplace is an e-commerce platform owned and operated by Amazon that enables third-party sellers to sell new or used products on a fixed price online marketplace alongside Amazon's regular offerings. Using Amazon Marketplace, third party sellers gain access to Amazon's customer base, and Amazon expands the offerings on its own site without having to invest in additional inventory. It's like an affiliate program. Scheme paid Amazon employees in India to leak confidential information on third party sellers. Outsourcing at its finest. Rohit Kadamasetti from Northridge, California, is one of six individuals indicted for a fraud and bribery scheme intended to manipulate the Amazon marketplace. According to CNBC, Kadamasetti worked at Amazon as a seller support employee until 2015. He was based in Hyderabad, India. After relocating to the US, Kadamasetti used his inside knowledge to hire employees in India to misuse their employee privileges and access to internal information systems and tools, per the DOJ. The DOJ added that the bribery scheme was run from late 2017 to 2020. The scheme was designed to benefit certain third party sellers on Amazon's marketplace across the US. Kadamasetti and other US defendants has served as consultants and a middleman of sorts to these sellers. As large as Amazon's customer base is, running the same scam for 3 years seems a bit lengthy. 6 months should net you a boatload of money. Anything after that, you're just being greedy. Please don't scam anybody. The services they provided included stealing confidential business information about Amazon algorithms, as well as facilitating attacks on competing sellers and product listings, according to the DOJ. Amazon did not immediately respond to insiders' requests for comment. Kata and the other individuals involved allegedly paid $100,000 worth of bribes to the employees, the DOJ said. Kata left the enterprise in late 2018 and pleaded guilty to his involvement in the bribery scheme. In addition to his prison sentence, Kata was also fined $50,000 in order to take 3 years of supervised release, according to CNBC. Fun show, fun show, fun show. That being said, don't scam anybody, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Adios.